It's another beautiful day in TBC Anniversary servers, and you would assume that Blizzard is doing everything in their power to make sure that many of the problems which are plaguing the Burning Crusade Anniversary servers are getting addressed, such as every group from here to Timbuktu HRing every single item in the heroic dungeons, or perhaps making it so we can buy primals maybe for badges of justice, or even further increasing the honor gains in the battlegrounds. And you would be completely wrong assuming they are doing those things. What Blizzard decided to do next will actually kinda shock you. About 12 hours ago, they released a blue post where they said the following: "We've observed a significant number of Burning Crusade players entering dungeons and then participating in no meaningful gameplay." That sounds basically like every group I've been playing with, only those are not boosting groups. Often, while only one party member plays through the instance. Ooh. When this is prominent, it can lead to detrimental economic effects among other concerns, so we're implementing a series of hot fixes to address it. The hot fixes are as follows. The Burning Crusade Classic Dungeons. Players must participate in combat to receive experience from dungeons. The amount of loot dropped by non-boss enemies in high-level dungeons is now determined by how many players participate in the kill. The vast majority of players who participate in dungeon groups as usual should see no difference after these updates. These changes will go into effect with scheduled weekly maintenance in each region. Now, at the first glance, you would assume that Blizzard here is doing something noble, something valiant, trying to make sure that there is not too much fake gold on the market with all the people who are paying for boosts. And you would be wrong assuming that this is what they're doing, considering that just when TBC was launching, they offered a 60 euro boost that to this day you can still purchase in the shop 10-11 weeks since the Burning Crusade has been out. So it's not some big moral high ground that they're trying to take here and combatant the boosts. You also have to take into consideration here many people are multi-boxing as well. I mean, there are people literally streaming on YouTube to this day, multi-boxing like 5 elemental shamans, 5 hunters, and boosting the crap out of the dungeons and getting a bunch of gold, BOEs, and other things. I don't think Blizzard understands that you don't actually have to have a customer to make a bunch of gold from running like DGs and stuff. This has been a strategy for a very, very long time on Classic and TBC previously, like I said, just multi-boxing a bunch of clients. So we established it's not this moral high ground because they're selling the boost, and we established that this doesn't really fix any of the fake gold coming into the market. In fact, I would say this is actually a detriment to the game, because at least when people were boosting in the game and offering some mage to boost him in a dungeon, or whatever way you were looking to boost yourself perhaps, at least you were doing it through the in-game channels. Can you imagine now where people cannot boost and they refuse to pay Blizzard 60 euro for a boost because they figured, hey, I can just, I guess, level myself legitly, it's gonna take me like 2 or 3 weeks, but with Rested XP that you can get cracked on many other websites, it doesn't really take that long to level in Classic if you're gonna rush it. My prediction what's gonna happen now is that G2G, Conquest Capped, and all the other sites which are offering real money transaction are gonna make absolute bank now. What Blizzard doesn't seem to understand is when they're prohibiting in-game services, which are, I would argue, generally legit. You're paying another player for a service, even though it's kind of scummy what's happening with all the tanks which are requiring you to pay them gold so they can tank heroic dungeons, and then they're also HRing primals and all the other stuff. But this is a topic for another video. When you force people to not use the in-game services, which services do you guys think they're going to be using? Of course, they're going to be using the other illegal services, and they're just going to take a risk and hope that they don't get banned. Blizzard, in my opinion, really has a blind spot in understanding the consequences of their actions. If everybody now is gonna go and buy gold on the other sides, this means the standards of the groups are gonna increase probably like 2 times. Suddenly, people will want that you have like a full enchant, they're gonna inspect your full character just so you can do like a normal freaking slave pants. Just because there's so much gold now on the market from people who are gonna buy gold illegally. If they can pay 100 euro for 5k gold, why the hell would they do anything else? They really need to get through their thick skull that when they take an action in the game, it's gonna affect everybody, not just this one group of people. And it's kind of ironic because in their post they labeled that the groups who are not gonna be affected are normal groups who are already running the heroic groups like at higher level all the times, but those groups are already like fully geared. They have all these super high standards. Like, you weren't getting into those groups anyway, and now the chances of you getting into those groups are even slimmer. You're not a tank or a mage or a warlock. Now that the standards are gonna go higher, forget about it. You're more likely to get a blink strike or something else in the world jobs than getting into a heroic group or getting a primal or something, unless you make your own groups and spend 10,000 years waiting in the LFG. I think I would feel better about this decision if they somehow make it that primals at least are available at the vendor for the badges, or make it so that primal maybe has a chance to drop from each boss in the heroic dungeons. It doesn't have to be 100% chance, but 10-15 from every boss I think would be pretty valid. Then at least least if you would get a heroic group, you wouldn't be so cucked out of getting a primal here and there. So yeah, those are the news. Let me know how do you feel about them in the comment section. If you did like this video, then please leave a like and leave a subscription for more long form videos. I do also stream regularly. You can find the links to my Twitch in this video's description. You can also watch me on YouTube. I am a multi-streamer. Peace out and take it easy. This is Ace signing out.